Thank you to all my channel members, including my fan appreciation level members and my contributor level members, for helping support the YouTube channel. Hello, and welcome to my channel. My name is Jonathan Cohn, and today I have my book review of the science fiction book Wraithkin by Jason Cordova. This is the first book in his Kin Wars Saga. I've read Jason Cordova's books before. I've met him in person. He's a great guy. And I read his book last year, Monster Hunter Memoirs Fever, that he co-wrote with Larry Correia. It's a great book. A lot of fun, fighting monsters back in, I think it was like the 70s that this book takes place. It's a real short, fun read. Had a blast with that book. But then I also picked up his book Mountain of Fire, which is about Catholic schoolgirls fight zombies, set in the Black Tide Rising world. And I loved it. I absolutely loved it. This was one of my favorite books I read last year. And so I was already like, I'm interested in reading more of his books. And I have his Kin Wars, which is currently 4 books out, but he has a 5th and 6th book planned. And I picked up the first book, Wraithkin. And I didn't know what to expect. I knew it was kind of military science fiction, so it's a new genre. But, I mean, he did well with the other 2 genres I read, and he absolutely knocks it out of the park. This is a superb book. It is fun, it is great adventure, it is good sci-fi, it is well-paced. This is a fantastically paced book. In fact, all of Jason's books that I've read, that's like the thing they all knock out of the park, is he has terrific pacing. I don't know how he does it, where the books just fly by because I'm just so engrossed in the story. This book, the basic premise, without spoiling anything, just telling you the basic premise of it, there are these elite soldiers called the Wraiths, and they are made up of people with genetic dispositions, we'll say. And they are sent to be this, they're the elite squad that is basically in this awesome armor that is basically sent to be a suicide squad, in that they go against enemies and they're sent to the front of the line. And the idea is you're probably going to die, but you take out as many enemies as you can. And our main character, Gabriel Espinosa, when some bad stuff happens to him and his family, he ends up joining the Wraiths and becoming this elite soldier. And then you have, the book also has a subplot following his brother, Andrew, who becomes a spy operative, an undercover spy, trying to sort out if there's any stuff going on with this political dynasty that's happening around with people near the emperor. And then the book also has like a romance subplot, but it's very minor, and it's mostly at the beginning of the book, although it does have a payoff later on. But that's mostly at the beginning. So if you're at the beginning of the book and you're reading the romance, you're like, I thought this was like a military action book. Just keep reading. It gets there. The first 100 pages does that setup, but it breezes through that. By the time you get to the military stuff happening, you're just like, man, we got there so fast, even though it's a good chunk of the book is the setup. And I mentioned pacing earlier. Just about in every way, this book is just masterfully paced. The exposition, the way that he sets up the story is expertly paced. The way that the training sequence when he joins the Wraiths is expertly paced. The way that the action sequences when they actually start fighting the aliens in this book is expertly paced. None of the action sequences take too long. None of them are too short either. He has nailed the pacing in this book, and it's tremendous. I can't believe how good it is. And then you have the characters who are very real and very well thought out, and really you connect with them really well. Main character Gabriel, I really connected with his character. I also really connected with the character of Sophie in this book, and it also deals with some deep themes that I really enjoyed. One of the themes that this book has to deal with is eugenics, the idea of having desirable traits, the perfects in this world versus the imperfects. And that theme is really well explored, and I think it's going to be even more explored in the sequels, and I'm really excited to read more of them. And then you also have themes about classism that happens from this, that deals from this imperfects versus perfects, that is, again, it's not hitting you over the head, but it's excellently written, and it's written in such a way that you appreciate it and you get what he's going for, but you don't feel preached at, and you don't feel like it's hitting you over the head. You just feel like it's a natural part of the story. And then there's a bit about governmental power over people and their lives that I also thought was really excellently written. The book has a mesh of a couple genres. It has kind of the military science fiction that you'd see in Timothy Zahn's Cobra series, especially with the way that the soldiers kind of become the elite fighting force is very similar to Timothy Zahn's Cobra. The way that they have the suits and the importance of the suits really reminds me of Halo, as is them fighting these aliens is kind of like the Halo books. And then I would throw in a sprinkle of Star Wars prequel politics. The way that you have this emperor who is starting to amass power, and the people don't like that the emperor has all this power, and so they're trying to use the government to try to curb the emperor's power and stuff. That I thought was, very reminded me of the prequels for Star Wars. But all of that meshed together, plus the great pacing and great character stuff, just made a terrific read. And Jason has this writing style where if description is necessary, he includes description, but he doesn't dwell on description ever, and it doesn't ever feel left out. I understood the environment, I understood everything I needed to understand, but the story just kept going. And also, this book has just great use of exposition, or rather, not having exposition. In this book, the story just moves along. And when you need to learn stuff, there is stuff about the way that they travel in this world that I didn't get until later in the book because it wasn't needed. I didn't need to know that information till later in the book. There was information about what these aliens were like. I didn't need to know that till later, so it wasn't introduced until later. Some of the stuff about the politics was a little bit explored at the beginning and then explored more as the book went on. And what made the book work so well is that you didn't feel thrust into this really complex world building and you were just trying to play catch up. You started out in a world that you understood, and then as the stuff became more complex and more sci-fi, Jason gives you a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more until you understand everything about the world. And that works so well. There were a few things I didn't love about the book. I felt that the plot line regarding his brother who's undercover just needed one more chapter. I know it's going to be explored more in another book, but it just needed one more chapter that I felt it needed. And then also, I will say, the book kind of oscillates between being super appropriate that anyone could read to, oh my goodness, that is a super R-rated thing that just happened. And not just, I'm not talking sex necessarily, I'm talking like in terms of either language or the type of things characters are talking about. It would oscillate between being super appropriate for a couple chapters and then just being super R-rated for a second. I was like, I didn't love that. But as a whole, those are minor complaints, because as a whole, this is a delightful, fantastic science fiction read. I've had so many books recently where I'm reading the book and it feels like a chore. And I was like, I just want it to end. I just want it to end. And this is a book that I was like, I just wanted to keep going. And I have books 2 through 4. I was going to get to them eventually. Book 2 will be on my next month's TBR, and I will be reading books 3 and 4 as well. Like, this series, it's already hooked me, and I almost want to just throw out the rest of my TBR and just go ahead and binge the next 3, because I think I would love it. But I'm not going to do that yet. But, I loved it that much. I had a blast with this. It's so exciting when you have a book that just works in every way for you, and this is that book. So, that is my review of Wraithkin by Jason Cordova. If you've read this book, let me know your thoughts in the comments section down below. And until next time, I'm Jonathan, and thank you for watching.